Hi, this is Conrad Zimmerman of FistShark Marketing, here to remind you that this show only exists because of listener support. Not only that, but the entirety of our self-worth as human beings, too. So just visit patreon.com/fishtshark or click the big Patreon button at fistshark.com for more details on how you can make us feel better about being the horrible people we are. And thanks for listening.
Where's Paulson? We're supposed to be doing a meeting, soon. I thought it was a brief lunch break and we were back to discuss the rest of the week's plans.
Yeah, he's downstairs, meeting with the people from Polished Response.
What?
Yeah. He's gonna be a little bit late. I guess they had some terms to go over or something.
Already they're throwing my schedule off. And
yeah.
Are we supposed to still think this is a good idea, this whole partnership thing? Because I'm still quite against it if no one got my memo.
Yeah, I've never thought it was a good idea. We have always been free, like a bird, right? And they want to cage that bird and put restrictions and limitations on the things that we do. And we're a creative-oriented business. You can't cage that bird. That bird needs to fly.
The bird can't be caged. I'm like a bird.
Right, you are.
I want to fly away.
Don't get me wrong. There are things about Polished Response and their methods and their techniques that, they get results, they make money.
No, Conrad! That is too far. A step toward admitting facts about our opposition, and they're still our opposition, is a step towards defeat. Surrender. Polished Response is a bad company. They're bad at marketing. They're bad at public relations. They're bad. They don't get results. They never have. They don't even have any clients. Probably. And that's the line we keep telling ourselves.
You're right. No, you're right. I'm sorry.
What happened to the good old days? If there's a problem in the company, one of the senior partners consults the Dark Oracle and we have a solution.
And you're right. That's proven time and again to be the method that's successful for us because we never have to deal with learning from errors or mistakes. There's no such thing as a failure, ultimately, because we can take any failure and turn it into something beautiful and new, and failing that, deny any involvement.
That's the way it's been since time immemorial. But now suddenly we have this, and they're not calling it a merger, but I can't see any way of describing it otherwise. It's a marriage pact, which I didn't know was legal between corporations, but apparently it is.
You see mergers and companies joining forces and pooling resources together all over the place. And while I recognize that there's more opportunity to centralize power and wealth when you're doing that, you're also making things much more complicated, right?
Well, that's always been the way of things. We take the Japanese approach, scale it down, micromanage, don't macromanage. When we talk about centralization of wealth, where do we put our wealth? It goes in the treasure room guarded by the eternal salamanders. That's where it goes. Where does the wealth go now that we have two companies? Because their building is on the other side of town from our building, which means all the wealth we have sits in the park. Geographically, this doesn't work. You can't have piles of treasure, sometimes literal, in the park. It'll get picked up by gulls.
Anyone would just be able to wander by and take our wealth. It seems impractical. It seems insecure.
And the salamanders aren't going to go there. They hate the park. People leave trash everywhere. They get it caught in their feet.
No, the whole thing makes me wary. Very, very nervous about it.
And speaking of nervousness, Paulson has really been pushing for this alliance.
He has. I've never seen him so insistent on something before.
Don't get me wrong. The idea of forcing Craig the intern into an arranged marriage is funny. That's funny because he doesn't want to do it. And anything Craig doesn't want to do is automatically funny.
I had to say, I was really impressed. by Paulson's initiative in that regard. You know, when I thought it was just a matter of we're going to force Craig into an arranged marriage, I mean, we'd never thought to do that.
Well, no, he didn't even suggest hitting him with sticks until he agrees. In fact, the torture aspect of this wedding has been at a complete minimum, if you ask me.
Non-traditional, I would say.
Absolutely non-traditional. I mean,
I'm old-fashioned.
Yeah, I'd go as far as to say this is some New Age bullshit. Vows in a church? I didn't even know what a church is.
And the other thing that was so impressive about the idea is that Paulson managed to succeed where we never did, in terms of breaking up Craig and his girlfriend. Like, this was the final straw for her, finding out that he was engaged to someone else. It was a masterstroke.
Yeah, I mean, that, again, it was funny. But there was just something too perfect about it. The way this whole thing has gone has been too smooth. He's taken no breaks to do cocaine. He's taken no breaks on Craig's body.
He's just gone non-stop.
Just constantly punctual, on time, like clockwork. Everything that has to have happened has happened according to his design, which is very intricate and on blueprints that are quite literally blue, with white text and diagrams.
Yeah, that's really unusual for this office. Even in terms of nothing else getting in the way and impeding it. For something to just run so perfectly on such a timetable, with machine precision.
Machine precision, Conrad. Now look, we've brought this up before, and tried to move past it. But we're looking at two options here. Either option A, Paulson Seer, is some sort of highly advanced biomechanical android / robot, maybe from the future, maybe not, but either way, implanted here to steal our secrets, possibly working for Polished Response as some sort of nano cyber spy. Or he's better at his job than us. And I'm willing to go with option A on this one. Because that seems the most plausible.
Option B doesn't even really seem like... How could that possibly be right?
It's like a child's fairy tale,
right,
Conrad? It's like a child, like a story you tell a lamb.
Yeah, no.
No, so he's definitely a robot.
He's definitely a robot.
I mean, there's evidence. I once saw him drinking oil. I think it was oil. It was liquid like oil.
Well, he goes into the kitchen. There's that whirring sound.
Mm-hmm.
You know the one that and then when he comes back out, he's got this sort of thick, off gray beverage that he's drinking.
Nutri-paste, probably, that he needs for his human bones that are covering his metal bones. I reckon that's what that is. Also, he eats E-sandwiches.
E-sandwiches?
E-sandwiches. They're like normal sandwiches, but the E at the beginning sounds a bit like email.
Right.
So it is obviously a robot thing from the future. They look like normal sandwiches, but they're E-sandwiches because he's eating them and he's a robot.
And they've just been here hiding among us in plain sight this whole time. We gotta do something.
I mean, how do you stand up to a robot Superman? Feast your ears on this one, folks. Body by Shrek.
Huh? Body by who?
Body by Shrek.
By Shrek. Shrek. Like Max Shrek?
Oh, come on, Mr. Sear! You're a clued-in, young, hip guy. You know about Shrek.
How could you not know about Shrek? Shrek is everywhere. Shrek is the most successful merchandising effort to ever come out of children's films.
Oh, I try to stay away from children's films, because if I start to feel too young and happy, I sometimes make mistakes. So I try to stay very adult, very mature.
That kind of breaks your algorithm, does it?
Yeah. It causes me to what's the word for it? Have imagination and a sense of inspiration and fun, which can be a little risky. I mean, there's a time and place, but
Well, yeah, I do have to meet with you on that one. That is true. Although I feel the same way about erotic literature. Children's films I'm perfectly fine to watch.
But I do recall hearing about this Shrek. He was, if I remember correctly, he is a troll or an ogre. I always mix those two up. And
well, I mean, technically it's ogre.
I see, culture. Yeah, and he is very cultured. If I remember what I read about him correctly, he's a princess, or he knows a princess.
In the films, he is sometimes near a princess. He has a talking donkey that's secretly Eddie Murphy, and the donkey had sexual intercourse with a dragon. The donkey inserted his erect penis. This isn't in the film, but it's heavily implied, and I have subsequently gone on to draw pictures of it. The donkey's erect tumescent entered the vaginal crevice of the dragon and went in and out a bit to the point of issue, at which point the donkey, with Eddie Murphy's voice, had a shuddering full-body orgasm, and deposited his semen, his talking donkey Eddie Murphy semen, into the dragon's vagina.
Dragina, I think, is the term.
Dragina, and went into her fallopian tubes / fireopian tubes. That's the best pun I can come up with that at such short notice. Went in the womb, at which point one of the sperms which also has the voice of Eddie Murphy, entered the egg of the dragon, and then gave birth to a dragon, and it was okay.
Just a regular old dragon, or was it part talking donkey or anything?
No, the dragon doesn't talk at all, which throws up its own series of questions not answered by the Shrek franchise of films.
All right, so I am on board. This sounds much better than I had imagined. What you mentioned before, it's Body by Shrek. So,
Body by Shrek! Oh!
Body by Shrek.
Like, this is like a line of DVDs and Blu-rays, maybe an online streaming program with recordings of computer-generated Shrek doing exercises and encouraging, both kids and families to get in shape, right?
Get in Shrek-like shape, I guess.
Well, that's where we're aiming with this. It's not so much fitness as it is fatness, because really for us, we're thinking that as part of a new body positivity message within the Shrek Foundation, which is a new foundation I've just come up with, we really want to promote a new standard of beauty, a new standard of what is fit, what is sexy, what is man. And the answer to all those questions, and more questions if you have them, is Shrek. Sometimes Shrek the Third.
I see.
Yeah, all roads lead to Shrek, which can work if we kind of backtrack and repave those roads in a way that leads to people getting something they want out of Shrek. So how do you...
everyone wants to be sexy.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone. Literally everyone. Not to make a generalization, but just us talking. People aren't going to get thinner. They're just not. We've tried making it more expensive to be big. We've tried making it a social stigma to be big. And it's not working because people like hamburgers too much. And as a company with a lot invested in the hamburger industry, it really doesn't behoove us to cut that out. They tried selling salads in McDonald's. It doesn't work. They tried painting the outside of McDonald's as green in the United Kingdom. It doesn't work. It just makes you sick when you're thinking about a burger. People are just getting fatter, and rather than try and force society to go one way that it's just not interested in going, we've got to learn to exploit the new bodily standards that we have. Therefore, we make big, sexy, and therefore make money off of that.
Well, and since we're already making money off the things that are making people big, I mean, it's win-win.
Exactly. Now, some may call that cynical, and I would agree, but it's going to make us a ton of moolah, which is French for money.
So the whole idea then is to get people to adopt the visual representation of Shrek to be the new sexy standard.
Yes,
really, right?
yes. Less Miley Cyrus, more Shrek. I don't have anything that sounds like Miley Cyrus and Shrek put together in a way that sounds clever, so I'm just going to say Shrek again. Shrek, thank you, and good night.
You know, while you were talking, I was listening, but I was boning up on my Shrek lore, and I'm seeing here that apparently there's a magic spell that can make you look like Shrek. So maybe that's our solution. Do we dabble in magic?
We have our best wizards on the case. Now, unfortunately, most of FistShark's wizards specialised and majored in necromancy and are not really keyed up for transmutation. But they're doing their best, and if there's a spell out there to make you look like Shrek, then you goddamn better believe we're going to find it. Until then, we found something even better. A range of products. A range of new beauty cosmetics to Shrek up your life. I give you Body by Shrek.
Oh, wow. That is so cool. There's some booty extending flaps that you put under your pants. Mm-hmm. What else do we have here?
Well, I mean, one thing you'll notice when you look at the leaflet that I have drawn up that explains the benefits and the products available in the Body by Shrek line is on double-sided glossy paper.
It's very impressive.
Uh-huh. Now, I spared no expense on this leaflet. You'll notice it is full colour. You'll notice the richness of the reds, and most importantly, of course, the brightness of the greens.
What's this tanning bed?
This, I am perhaps the proudest.
You want to open up a line of tanning salons?
Well, under your granddad's beauty standards, brown was in. That's what tanning was. You think tanning bed, you think, I'm going to get a bronzed look for the summer.
Sure, I'm going to be a bronze god. Yeah.
That's fine. To be a bronzed Adonis is fine. If you spent your time dodging doodlebugs in World War II. No.
But the modern man isn't a bronzed Adonis. I mean, that's the whole point we're making here. So you're suggesting we should encourage, then, of course, Shrek.
Of course, Shrek. That's why we found a way to tan the human skin green.
That's amazing.
Wow.
You get into one of these beds, the light rays do their thing, just like regular tanning beds, but unlike getting your skin a browner complexion, you come out of there perfect Shrek green.
That's fantastic.
But how does that work? Normally, skin only turns green if it is gangrenous, if it is rotting, or if it is exposed to radiation at times that can singe and distort the pigment to a greenish hue. So we need to be health conscious, and we need to minimize risk. I guess that goes without saying. For a health movement such as this.
Here's the thing, Paulson. Actually, do you mind if I call you Paul?
Sure, I suppose.
Okay. I know a Paul already. He actually is working with chemotherapy and a lot of drugs that treat terminal illness. And I know him because I anticipated your concerns about our new green tanning beds, and that's how I know Paul, who will be providing some of his services at a reduced rate for anyone who uses the tanning bed, because they're going to really need what Paul has to sell. So don't think I haven't thought about this, because I've already got it sorted. And let's not look at the side effects of the tanning bed anymore. That's on a less glossy leaflet people get and have to sign permissions and waivers on before they get in the bed.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. What did you say your friend Paul does?
Who?
Your friend Paul, that you didn't want to confuse Paulson with.
I never said anything about any chemotherapy.
Did you say he's a chemotherapy physician?
No. I'm sorry. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I'm feeling very attacked right now.
So the tanning bed causes cancer.
Very attacked. Very attacked right now. I'm sorry, I don't think I can function under this kind of grilling. I'm shaking my hands up and down now.
And your hands look a little green. Have you been trying the tanning booth? The shranning booth? Is that how you pronounce that?
Never get high in your own supply is what I say. The green on my hands can easily be explained.
How?
If I'm perfectly honest, it can't be that easily explained. Otherwise, I'd have had something quicker than that, Conrad. So, let's move on.
Well, that had me wondering, couldn't people just draw on their arms and legs with magic marker, with green permanent magic marker, or use a dye or a paint?
Here's the thing about dyes and paints and magic markers. Being solvents, having that much applied to your skin and blocking your pores isn't very safe. Really, the only guaranteed medically sound approach to greening your skin is the Body by Shrek green tanning bed.
But how about the ears? I don't know if you noticed Shrek's ears, or if you even call them ears, or...
Let's not worry about the ears. Let's talk about getting everyone to speak with a bad Scottish accent. Donkey, no, donkey, don't do that. Get out of my swamp. Everyone's going to kind of affect that sort of Brendan Fraser accent and live the Shrek lifestyle. Donkey, don't do that. I'm standing near a princess. Donkey. Oh, look, here comes Jonathan Lithgow. Donkey.
Well, that's the beauty of the whole Body by Shrek approach towards making people feel better about the fat, disgusting creatures we're all inevitably becoming due to our lack of self-control.
Filthy, filthy slug boys.
With the bad Scottish accent, everybody can do it differently. There's no right way to do a bad Scottish accent, as opposed to like a good Scottish accent. There are, things that you would need to have as part of the speech, but there are no rules regarding a bad one, so everyone's can be different.
No rules, just right.
That's kind of the beauty of it, isn't it? That, we're all coming together. It's another unifying facet of the whole Body by Shrek lifestyle.
Plus, once everybody gets a talking donkey, they're going to be too distracted by those to worry about how bad their accents sound.
Oh my lord, everyone gets a talking donkey?
Well, they'll have to buy one if they want to live the Shrek lifestyle, of course, but FistShark Marketing is, of course, ready to provide. We've got a range of talking donkeys that we've specifically trained for the purposes of being sidekicks towards the beauty conscious, should they give us the cash required.
Whoa, that's really... Talking animals, that's been, there's been research in that for a long time. Like in the incredible film Congo, they get a speech apparatus attached to a gorilla and allows the gorilla to speak using sign language. It translates the sign language into speech. I've even heard some technology is allowing dogs to be able to speak with a human voice, not actual voice, of course. It's mechanical, it's robotic, but still speaking their impulses in language that people can understand. This is great.
That's the stuff that people can talk about publicly. Now let's peel back that veneer and dig into the unethical and yet highly profitable side of getting animals to talk. It involves a lot of vocal cord transplants, hypnotic suggestion, and of course therapy, so that the donkeys gifted their speech through incredibly intensive, intrusive, and psychologically damaging methods don't instantly throw themselves off cliffs the moment they're let out of their paddocks.
Oof.
To wit, they do not sound like Eddie Murphy so much as they sound like donkeys, with their braying malformed into the vague sounds of human words, and most of them just repeat, help me, over and over again. But we're making progress. Pretty soon we'll have those donkeys that are going, help me, going, I'm a donkey, Shrek!
Okay, you covered a lot of your bases, but I hate to be a stickler. But really, what are we going to do about the ears? It's not Shrek without those ears.
Yeah, we're just going to duct tape some trumpets to people's fat heads.
It's official then? The FDA is no longer going to require the vaccine?
What? That's not good.
That's what I said. It sounds like the forces of the anti-vaxxer community have finally managed to get their voices heard.
Okay. You know what? I'm honestly sick of this. Like, vaccination is important to the point where I would consider it almost abusive to not protect your child against important diseases that really need combating. There is a swathe of horrendous illnesses that have been coming back to the United States because people aren't going to vaccinate their children and aren't protecting and helping stamp out some real life-threatening stuff. Like, this is not just a human wellness issue. Like, this isn't just the personal freedom to decide what to do with your own family. This goes wider than that. This is about your fellow humans, people who do want to protect their and theirs from things like polio, from things like cholera, from all of these horrible things that we once had beaten and are now just rolling over and letting take us over again because we place one's personal freedom above human safety. And more importantly, we were making a lot of money off those vaccines, and now I'm fucking annoyed.
Then, you have all of these instances of supposed problems with the children who wind up with these vaccinations and your autism and so forth. But the connections are always pretty vague. I mean, it's hard to put a whole lot of stock into it.
Of course they're vague, Conrad. I mean, first of all, some of these problems that people are saying are caused by vaccination is their own stigmas of what's quote-unquote normal being applied to, their children. Which I find highly distasteful to begin with. And second of all, there's absolutely no link between what the child is born with and what vaccinations the parent may or may not have had. And most importantly, the money.
It is a lot of money. You're
right. It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
When you said that they're not requiring the vaccine anymore, I mean, are you talking about the big vaccine? Are you talking about the actual, the one that matters more than anything else to our company?
Sadly, yes.
Are you kidding?
Look, there have been a whole string of kids now that have been born with grey hair.
There is no link to old man babyism and vaccination.
I know this, you know this, but try convincing anyone else that it's this. We're seeing Zika having a connection to microcephaly, so why couldn't it have been some other virus that came out of some horrible place and nobody ever talks about until there's a virus?
I mean, leaving aside the money, and let's not forget the money for too long.
The money is very important.
That vaccination, since the 80s, has protected not just America, the entire world population against one of the greatest diseases known to humankind. If we stop giving this vaccine, I don't even want to think about the consequences.
I'm on Google.com right now, checking out the research on what people are saying about this vaccine, and here's Hollywood actress Kate Winslet saying, anyone who gives this vaccine to their children is an actual Satanist who I will murder in their sleep.
That's just bastard.
Not only are they lashing out against what medical science has not in any way proven to be a connection, now they're slagging off a perfectly respectable group of people like Satanists.
Balthazar has been inconsolable since that statement went out. They don't murder babies, hardly at all. Not human ones anyway.
And here's Cameron Diaz saying, I vaccinated my family with this vaccine and we all became worse at acting.
What is she on about? We represent her, don't we? What is she doing to us?
That's how passionate they are. They turn tail and run as soon as they get fear of this vaccine. I don't know if there's any stopping it.
How is the vaccine scarier than the actual disease? What if half of America succumbs to Pac-Man fever tomorrow?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I'm not sure if anyone has seen a true case of Pac-Man fever since the original outbreak in, I believe, 1983.
I think that's the problem. I think 1983 was a long, long time ago. People have forgotten how Pac-Man fever almost brought this nation to its knees. They've forgotten the symptoms. I think mostly when people think of Pac-Man fever now, they just think of the cute little song. And let me remind you, if any of them saw firsthand the symptoms, it wouldn't be a cute little song that was written about it. You don't write songs about what Pac-Man fever does to you unless you're Trent Reznor. Think of every disgusting visual imagery that a Cradle of Filth song has put in your head. And that's what Pac-Man Fever does. I'm sure some people hear the term Pac-Man Fever and think, ha ha ha, it's probably some fun disease where you turn yellow for a bit, or you want to eat a lot, or you get chased by ghosts. And none of that happens.
I mean, it was really irresponsible for them to put that song out and mention, the two earliest symptoms of the condition, the calloused fingers and the tight shoulders. But then not mention anything about how gums start to recede and teeth begin to fall out.
To say nothing of the amount of blood that falls out of your anus. I scoured those lyrics. I scoured the lyrics of Pac-Man Fever, and not once does he say, oh, by the way, you bleed out your ass so much.
That's tough. I mean, you have to remember the 80s was a very different time, a more sheltered, a kinder era, you could say. Writing songs about eyeballs bugging out of the head until they pop. And what's this about your skin just kind of growing to the point where you can no longer move, this kind of super thick skin? I guess the callous fingers is the beginning of that.
Yeah, that's the start of it, and then the skin kind of necrotizes as it travels up your hands. That's kind of the late stage. That's when it truly has become fatal to the user. Before that, of course, you've got your fingernails and your teeth coming out. I mean, basically imagine the transformation from Seth Brundle to the Brundlefly, only not gripping and dramatic, just very long, very sad, very painful. Just, if you could imagine every worst illness, but that, and also it's worse. And that's Pac-Man Fever.
And now we're not protecting ourselves against it anymore, apparently.
Thank God I was vaccinated in the late 80s, along with everyone else in my generation. But the future generations, I mean, if Pac-Man Fever comes back, we're going to have a lot of bad things to worry about.
Well, the treatment for the fever, I guess, is playing Pac-Man, which we could try to spin.
Well, it treats the symptoms, but it's no cure. I mean, you're playing Pac-Man 3 hours a day for the rest of your life, and even then, you're just extending the amount of time it takes before this horrible flesh golem. You're not curing it. You're not getting. It never goes away. If you have, I can't emphasize enough how not funny this is. This disease is fucking horrible. It's not cute or endearing.
Maybe that's the problem. Maybe we need to do a new tune in order to educate people on it, because nobody likes to think about things that aren't cute.
I mean, maybe, but I would think Slipknot's the only band capable of doing it now. I mean, make no mistake. This isn't funny. This is the Slipknot of diseases.
Maybe it's not funny.
And it really isn't.
But it is seemingly the will of the people. I mean, the market is speaking. And maybe the thing for us to do is to react to the market, to find a new way to serve it. If it no longer wants the vaccine, maybe it wants Pac-Man Fever. So how do we serve customers with Pac-Man Fever? Just sell them Pac-Man?
I mean, that's the quickest and most direct route.
We could set up an arcade distribution system, locations where people can come in and get their daily dose of Pac-Man. Actually, this could revitalize the entire arcade industry, which hadn't considered.
So you're saying rather than fight the anti-vaxxers, we should maybe just switch sides?
All I'm saying is the money might be greener on the other side.
I mean, first of all, let me just state for the record that having emphasised just how horrific this disease is and how important vaccinations are, that morally and philosophically and politically even, what you're suggesting is disgusting and shocking, and it's not something that I could easily live with myself supporting or endorsing. But the money, though.
Right? The money could be really good.
Really good.
And I don't know that the money's going to get any better in the other direction at this point.
Yeah, okay. Well, again, just bearing in mind, I want it for the record that I'm against any of this.
Oh, certainly. No, it's depraved and craven and disgusting.
Yeah, but it's what the public want.
And the money.
And the money, though.
The money.
But the money, though, for yeah, okay. Have we ever tried selling to anti-vaxxers a vaccination that protects against vaccinations.
Oh. You mean kind of treatment for treatment to get rid of the side effects?
It's like, okay, you've decided that protecting against Pac-Man fever is dangerous. So you're saying, take your vaccines and pack it in. We've heard that. We've listened to what the market wants. We respond to that. Here is we're not offering you a vaccination. It's just a simple injection that we give you, a simple shot that protects against all future vaccines.
It's like a retro vaccination.
Yeah. I mean, we'll call it something that doesn't have the word vaccination in it.
Right.
So that, just to make it very clear, this isn't a vaccination. This is a simple preventative shot. And
that
then
prevents vaccines from functioning.
From ever working.
So it's not just for the side effects, it's to actually just make you immune to things that will make you immune to viruses and
exactly.
bacteria.
It's an inoculation against inoculation, which I guess would just be like water in a syringe.
That really reduces the cost. I mean, that's very, very easy to acquire.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if we sell that at a markup, I'm thinking anywhere between $600 and $700 a shot.
Oh,
then,
yeah, easy.
I mean, we'll start low and get high, obviously. So we start at 600 and then see if we can double or triple that over the next 3 years. Then I really think we might have a market here. Because let me just say, like, FistShark marketing rolls with the punches. And I'm very proud of us right now. As disgusted and abhorred as I am in what we're even
totally
suggesting.
Yes, it goes against every moral fiber of my being. The money, though.
But the money.
FistShark Marketing is Jim Sterling, Conrad Zimmerman, and Paul Sincere. Theme music by Ben Rama. Additional music by Alazar Chan. Our editor is Alan Smithy. Get more episodes and learn how to support the show at FistShark.com. Follow us on Twitter at FistShark for more of our exploits. Complaints can be forwarded via email to fistsharkmarketing@aol.com. And remember, the camera doesn't lie. We do that in post. Goodbye.